Capricorn, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for mid-August 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Capricorn collective. I hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for the lovely Cappies in mid-August? We are still in Leo season at the moment, moving into Virgo soon. But what energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot, just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for the Cappies in mid-August. What's the vibe? What's the energy? Let's get this card out nice and quick, my good friends. We're going to have some fun today. It's always a good time reading for you. Okay, cool. So I like this card. It does remind me of Gemini vibes, and the big overarching theme to me is perspective. Although whenever we see the symbolism of a mask, like, okay, is this something hidden? Is this like deception? I don't necessarily think so with this card. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the August subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about the card. So as we can see, we have this lovely couple. Actually, I think they're twins. That's how I view it, and they're both looking through the same mask, like one eye each. Now, as I already mentioned, normally when we see masks in symbolism, that could represent something that's hidden, obscured, something that may not be what it seems. So that's something to keep in mind. But the main thing I always pick up here is the perspective, like I mentioned, whether it's how you frame a situation, how you're looking at it. Maybe you want somebody to see something from your vantage point or vice versa, right? That's a big thing with empathy. Now, a lot of times in life, whether we're going through good times, trying times, you name it, it's good to try to detach yourself from the situation, not permanently, but just to like brainstorm where it's like, okay, if I was giving advice to someone else, what would I advise them to do? That's a very simple, straightforward way to look at things. So it's all about framing and perspective for some reason, whether you're wanting someone to see your side or the other way around. But I usually think this card is pretty good because it's taking into account a lot of different variables. But again, like the downside, when we get into perspective, sometimes people's perspective might seem a little skewed. Like, oh, how do you see it like that? But if you're connected to a Gemini or have Gemini placements, that could just be a power card. But we're just going to let them chill right there. They're obviously watching something. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Shuffle it up one time here for the Cappies. And while we get this shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. Some pretty good vibes. The reading was titled Exciting News Incoming. And it seems like the past several weeks, there's been a pretty good flow of energy. Like I've been seeing things about wins and payoffs. And I always say these types of things come in all different shapes and sizes, whether it's career, whether it's personal relationships, maybe it's just a couple of really good days or a vacation. The main overarching theme in your energetic weather report has been a nice flow of energy. So we're going to hope to keep that going. And just know that energy could bleed over for a couple of weeks. So let's see what we have this week. And yeah, as you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you. Let's get 3 cards here for the Cappies. What's happening? What do we got? All right, 2 of Swords. All right, so maybe the mask is a little bit of an obscured energy, right? Like I don't always go there first, but when we start off with the 2 of Swords, it's like, huh, okay, maybe it is. Maybe there is something where there's more than what it seems, right? And we're not going to turn that into a whole big thing. But let's get a couple more cards here. We got cool Star. Very good long-term outlook. That's nice. That's actually pretty good. Let's get one more out here. I'm going to try to stay as neutral as possible, my good friends, but I'm getting a pretty good feeling. Let's get one more. What do we got for the Cappies? And we'll start breaking it down. Okay. Yeah, mixture of things. So we do have the 5 of Cups right here on the back end. There's a lot of internal energy here this week, specifically the air element, and we're going to get into that in a moment. But we also have the Magician as a bonus card. Cool. So it's like all this energy balances each other off, right? Like that's how it's initially reading to me. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, you know me, I love the elements. I feel like that lays a nice foundation and tells us how the energy could flow. And in the main part of the spread, we have two main ones. We have a whole bunch of air right here, a little bit of water, and these are all internal energies. This guy over here, the magician, that's all elements in one. Now, when it comes to air, that's of the mind, right? So it could be very logical, pragmatic. It could be about strategy and planning. The biggest thing I always say about the air element is that it's information exchange. Whether I'm giving information, receiving information, searching for information, that's all like this is all about that. So that's why it's the suit of communication. Now the downside to a lot of air is that it can represent overanalysis, overthinking, analysis paralysis, that kind of stuff. And it could also be quite cold, right? Where it's like, all right, I'm not taking emotion into account. I'm doing the logical thing. I'm going by the facts, which again, nothing wrong with that. Then here on the back end, we have the water, much softer. That's about the emotions, right? So it's like we have the heart, matters of the mind. Cool. And they do kind of play off of each other a little bit. Now, when it comes to the water, that could be about partnerships, emotional states in general. It could be connections, uh, anything really that we're emotionally attached to, that we actually care about. Not things that we say we care about, things we actually do. It could be very creative and artistic and expressive. So I like water for that. But the downside of it, it can be a little wishy washy, right? It could be a little in, a little out, a little up, a little down, which sometimes that energy could be a little frustrating. It is also very subtle and intuitive. So it's like we have the facts and then we have the intuition happening. And then, yeah, the magician over here on the back end, powerful major arcana that deals with manifestation, and we'll talk about him further, but he deals with all elements. So as you can see, we have a balance. But let's go through and start building it out piece by piece. Position number one, two of swords. Now, as you can see, we have this lady here. She's chilling on the beach. It's nighttime. There's a moon in the sky. She is blindfolded, hoodwinked, bamboozled. And it's not necessarily a negative card. To me, well, I'll give you the classical. Normally, when this card shows up, as with all twos, it can represent being at a crossroads. Twos also represent partnerships as well, or a decision point. And the Two of Swords can be confusion, indecisiveness, the analysis paralysis I was speaking about before. This could be someone that's like in their mind and they don't know which direction to go. So it can be a little bit of confusion. But to me, the way I read it, and you know me, I love to simplify things and pare it down as much as possible. The Two of Swords is just mystery, whether that's for better or for worse. So, like the Two of Swords, that's something that's not on our radar, something we don't quite see, something we don't quite know, whether it's information or a situation. Now, again, like that's good, right? Like mystery doesn't always have to be a bad thing, but sometimes it can be, right? So, especially if your intuition's telling you something, we might want to listen to it. So, we'll get back to this Two of Swords when we clarify it. Now, moving to the middle is a nice anchor point within the reading that is keeping me very optimistic. We have the star. Now, if you have Aquarius placements, if you're connected to an Aquarius, this is their power card. And everyone knows Aquarius is the water bearer, but they're technically an air sign. And the star, to me, if we're not looking at a person or a placement, represents hope. It represents optimism. It's wish fulfillment. So again, those wins, victories, blessings. We really, really love this card. It's great, especially for the big picture. And I would say out of all the cards in the whole entire tarot deck, this is one that really points to the future, where it might not be talking about today or tomorrow, this month, or even this year. This could be like big picture thinking. So I like the hopefulness. I like the silver lining. I like the win based type of energy. Now, what might be the downside to such a positive card? If we flip all those things into inverse, this energy could be a little bit down, it could be a little bit depressed. It could be an energy that's dooming, so to speak, or black pilling, if you know what that means. So that's something to watch out for, like, because it can be a little down in the dumps where it's like, I'm trying real hard to find a silver lining here. And speaking of that, we move to the back end. We have the Five of Cups. And this card is called the River of Tears. We see the person all dressed in black. And remember, this doesn't necessarily have to be your energy. This one is a little bit gloomy, right? And as with all challenge cards, I always say they don't always have to be the sky is falling, worst case scenario. Like this might just be a day where you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, or maybe it's gloomy and rainy outside. The energy is just a little bit down, right? It's a brooding type of energy, right? Now, the positive, you know me, I always like to paint that silver lining. this is very temporary. So if this is a problem, if this is an emotional spiral, if this is a downswing of some sort, we still have cups that are upright. We still have things off in the distance. So it's like, all right, we're moving towards the future in a positive way. So temporary. That's the big thing here. Temporary. Now, moving to your bonus, and yeah, we'll have to see. Like, is this someone else's? Is this yours? But on the back end, we do have the magician, and it's interesting that I was speaking a lot about framing and perspective. This card is huge when it comes to manifestation, right? Like creation, channeling of energy. And listen, I'm not going to say that, if you just think happy thoughts, everything's going to come to pass. A lot of it does have to deal with identity, subconscious programming, all that kind of stuff. But the magician has control or controls its outcomes. So that could be good. But again, like it's also very spiritual and it ritualizes and it could be spiritual practice as well. But I think it's good because it's like we have things that counterbalance each other. So I want to dive deeper on all the Capricorn. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here, my friends. And yes, this is where I go intuitive, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Two of Swords. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Cappy, you could drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the Two of Swords here? Why is that Two of Swords here? Thank you. Cool. Oh, okay. All right. So this could be something, a situation that may have been building up for a long time or could build up for a long time, which again, depending on your perspective, that could be a really good thing or it could be a rough thing. The world is, if we're not looking at an unexpected or a surprising situation, it could be a change of some sort. Now, let's break the world down just a little bit. You see it, it's cyclical, right? And in the tarot deck, it is the last of the major arcana. It can represent endings and completions. But to me, it's not like the Ten of Swords. I always say, to me, it's something that works its way through, or it takes its time. It evolves over time, which I think is nice. So hopefully, in the best case scenario, this may be something that's building for a long time where you might experience a breakthrough. But it is also karmic and it is also cyclical. So again, for some of you, Two of Swords and the world, yeah, there could be a close of a chapter, but to me, I'm just going to label it either a surprising or unexpected change, especially with the mystery. But there's something about it that feels like it's been building, building, building for a long time. So if there have been any things or situations that you've been dealing with for quite a while, when I see the Two of Swords with the world, it's like, okay, it's coming to a head of some sort. So that's just something to keep in mind. There could be a lot of situations that come to a head. I don't want to call it a breaking point because it can be a breakthrough for some of you. But we're just going to put this down right here. A lot of spiritual karmic energy here this week with the world and the star and the magician. So that's in play. Let's go in on the star. Let's see what that's about. I'm not nervous about this on the front. I'm really not. So whether it is like the change or the situation in general, we'll just see. So let's go in on the star. Let's see what's happening here. Why is the star here? It's like a slow build of energy. Wow. I mean, this is one of the best case scenarios, best alignments you could ask for, right? The star clarified by the Ten of Cups. Beautiful. Okay, now, funny thing about tens is they represent endings too, right? Even the good ones. So the star with the Ten of Cups, that is a prototypical happy ending, right? Like just like in the fairy tales, they live happily ever after, right? We like it. The Ten of Cups could be friends and family in the circle around you, but this is a win, a victory, a blessing. So when I see the star, remember I was saying I feel something evolving that's been building up and working towards something big for a long time now. So could this surprising energy be a breakthrough or an unexpected breakthrough? Absolutely. To me, this is absolutely a happy ending. Now, that's great. And I know a lot of Capricorns and crosswatchers are going through a lot of different things. I'm not going to say that every single thing that you're dealing with is going to turn out picture perfect, but I do see more than a silver lining. I see something working for you as opposed to against you. And we go back to that message I had about perspective. Maybe there are some things going on or uncomfortable things that aren't making you too happy at the moment. sometimes it's all about turning that perspective. Like, hey, is this working against me or is it working for me? Because when I see the star in the 10 of cups with this win-based, victory-based type of energy, potential breakthrough, we have like the karmic blessings, the whole nine. It feels like something is working for you, not against you. So just keep that in mind, especially if there is a situation or a perceived problem, because a lot of times we don't realize it until we look back in retrospect. So this very, very intriguing reading this week, because we're not just looking at the short term. I know it's a weekly reading, but we're looking at long term. Let's go in on the Five of Cups. We'll see what that has. Then we'll do a quick little recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the Five of Cups here for my cappies, please? Why is the Five of Cups here? Thank you. Okay. So we have the Eight of Wands in reverse. There could be certain things that could be really testing your patience in this time. That's how it feels, because on this back end, I'm not getting, despair and doom and gloom. To me, it's more like a frustration building, right? And it could be tied into all this. It could be something totally different, whether it's a person or a situation. The Eight of Wands is communication normally, and it's hot and heavy action. It's very fiery. It moves forward. So, like when I see it in reverse underneath the Five of Cups, one, watch out for misunderstandings, watch out for some difficult conversations or talks. That could be part of it. But to me, it's like a building tension. Now, tension to me is just like an overflow of energy within us, right? There's a lot of ways to release it, whether it's through physical activity, emotional expression, artistic expression. There's a lot of ways to release that energetic overflow or that buildup, right? Because I've been saying it since the beginning. It's like we have this slow buildup going on, and that could just be energetic for some of you. So if you've been feeling unsettled, been feeling a little off, or if there's something that's just not quite feeling right, part of that could be due to that slow buildup of internal energy we're picking up here. But I would absolutely say watch out for frustration or frustrating situations, frustrating people, because with this in reverse under the Five of Cups, it's like I'm dragging my feet. It's like, why do I have to? Why? Like, why can't this be quicker? Right. So it's a very chop chop type of energy. Like, let's get this moving here. But I'm just so happy about the energy we have in the center, because that really is the focal point of the rest of the reading. But let's go through. I'll give you some a quick overview, then we'll get into the shadow card. If you kindly look in the box, position number one, yeah, we start with the Two of Swords, world in the upright. Yeah, it could be a close of a chapter or a completion, but to me, it's that slow build of energy where something may have been building for a long time. To me, it's either a surprising or unexpected situation, or most importantly, a change or breakthrough. It's like slow build, slow build, slow build. Boom, we get the breakthrough into the star and the 10 of cups. That's a happy ending type of energy right there. Happily ever after, just like the storybooks. So that feels really, really nice to me. Hopefully it's coming sooner rather than later, because I just feel like the universe working for a lot of you, where even if there's something that's not too pleasant, it's like, all right, well, when I look back on it, I'll realize that this was a good thing. Like, this was meant to happen. This was meant to be. Moving on the back end, we do have the Five of Cups with the Eight of Wands in reverse. Although we have a lot of positivity here, there is this little buildup of frustration or this little buildup of excess energy. So it might be a good thing to find little ways to vent that out. So whether, again, it's a conversation with someone you love and trust, whether it's physical activity or art, it's like we need to put the energy somewhere. But this is the focal point. Remember that. So Capricorn, uh, feel free to take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. Let's see what's in the shadows. And yes, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They can be a good thing. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. Let's get it going. There we go. Thank you. Okay, the Fool card. Now, this card, I'm biased towards it. I think it's great. It's the first of the major arcana. So it's funny, we have the last one, now we have the first one. In this deck, it's called the Seeker. Big Aries energy, right? And Aries is all about taking initiative and making actions, bold action. And this card is great for fresh, new cycles. So I like the completion energy moving into the positive. That's a good thing about this card. But when we get to the challenge of the Fool, this is important since this is the shadow side. This is all about impulse control. right? The Fool is an energy, although it's happy, although there's a lot of energetic potential, the Fool can absolutely act first, ask questions later. So whether that's someone else you're connected to or urges within you, when we see the Fool in the shadows, it's like, hey, watch the urges, watch for the snap decisions, snap actions, because this energy can just boom, do something and then question it afterwards. So there's a little bit of volatility here. But for some of you, it could actually be really fantastic. So we're just going to put him down right there, my friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details. The August subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, or you'd like to have a chat with me, you can book a personal session with me on my website, mastermetaphysics.com. The August calendar is up and spots go quick, so you might want to check that out. But for the August subscriber surprise, we're doing another winner's choice. I will choose 3 winners at random to either choose the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, which is an absolutely stunning deck, or one of the custom-made crystal pendants from my website, mastermetaphysics.com. So if you'd like to get your name in for that, it's 2 simple things, as always, my friends. First, you must be subscribed, and second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards that showed up in your reading today, which one intrigued you the most? Which one caught your attention, and why? And you put that in the comments, you'll be entered to win, and at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab / post tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.